Thank you, and good evening. What an honour it is to speak here at the Royal Institution with such an esteemed group of explorers, leaders, experts, all riding the wave towards a future where our relationship with plastic is radically redefined, reshaped, reinvented, so as not to cause harm to people or planet. I run a national environmental charity called Surfers Against Sewage, which over the past 30 years has grown from a remote single-issue pressure group into one of the UK's best-known marine conservation and campaigning charities, representing anyone and everyone who loves our coastline. The charity is perhaps one of the most authentic voices of the sea due to the visceral and passionate connection our community has with the oceans and beaches. So close is this connection that I've often heard our supporters described as marine indicator species themselves, the canary in the coal mine of the issues that we work on, people who live and breathe the ocean and have a regular, if not daily, contact with water. Now, my interest with the shoreline in our ocean started some 35 years ago here in this great maritime city of London-on-Sea, mudlarking on the banks of the Thames with my brothers, looking for clay pipes, old tools, coins, and many other interesting and relatively benign objects that had been cast into the tidal flow of the river. At that time, I don't remember really seeing much plastic, and certainly not the sort of tide lines of plastic we see on our rivers and on our beaches today. Plastic is an extraordinary material, flexible, colourful, light, abundant, and almost indestructible. It has had an impact on every human industry and revolutionised the very way we live. It has helped us explore the furthest reaches of the planet, from the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain ranges, and even beyond the atmosphere through space travel. Plastic is also an extraordinary pollutant, flexible, colourful, light, abundant, and almost indestructible. The very properties that make it so useful also make it so problematic when it escapes into the environment. The ocean can often be the final destination for plastic waste, carried by winds, streams, rivers and currents into oceanic whirlpools of plastic. Indeed, it seems increasingly unlikely that a pristine plastic-free environment today truly exists on any part of planet ocean or planet Earth. As Jacques Cousteau said, water and air, the two essential fluids on which all life depends, have become global garbage cans. However, plastic is also becoming an extraordinary unifier. The very properties which make it so useful and so problematic, its durability, its lightweight, its colourfulness, make it the pollutant that everyone can see, understand, and react to in their everyday lives. The millions of tons of plastic that enter our oceans annually are the same as the millions of tons that people interact with every single day in our shops, in our restaurants, in our homes, and in our offices. The tide line on most beaches usually has the same plastic brand profile as any homogenized high street. Immediately recognizable to anyone taking part in a beach clean, this jetsam is a warning sign of a failing linear economy, excessive packaging, unnecessary plastics, poor resource management, and a fragmented recycling system. Scenes of beaches, cities, and wilderness choked with plastic have also generated a tidal wave of social action. Again, to quote Jacques Cousteau, "The sea, the great unifier, is man's only hope. Now as never before, the old phrase has a literal meaning. We are all in the same boat." The ubiquitous nature of plastic pollution and its relevance to our daily lives is perhaps unique amongst the most ominous of pollutants of our times. Unlike carbon and other invisible pollutants, we can all see it, touch it, and respond to it. Surfers Against Sewage collaborates with 50,000 community beach clean volunteers every year and will continue to tackle plastic pollution at the front line, where land and sea converge, interlocked by a swathe of plastic. However, we know that we can't simply pick our way out of the problem. Whilst we're committed to removing and recycling as much plastic as possible, we every piece of victory. We need to focus on upstream solutions in the war on avoidable plastics. Our army of beach clean volunteers is now being augmented on a new front in our towns, in our villages, in our cities through our Plastic-Free Communities campaign. Plastic-Free Communities is a movement designed to unite and empower people to reduce their collective plastic footprint. It's the only step-by-step framework uniting individuals, schools, businesses, community groups, local government to galvanize action to reduce over-reliance on avoidable single-use plastics. And in the process, we're already seeing local economic and community regeneration. The campaign has been hugely successful since its launch just last summer as part of our vision for plastic-free coastlines, with hundreds of communities already working towards plastic-free status, both nationally and internationally. When a community achieves this plastic-free status, it means they've not only committed to reducing the number of single-use plastic items they use, but more importantly, they've put the decision-making group in place to incrementally decouple their community from throwaway plastics. After all, the majority of plastic pollution that our volunteers find at the beachfront are single-use items: straws, stirrers, plastic bottles, plastic bags, disposable lighters, plastic cotton bud sticks, and much, much more. They all have upstream solutions to prevent their presence on our beaches. This is what Plastic-Free Communities is designed to do. The impact of the initial pilot program is impressive, including 6,500 local businesses, 4,500 community groups, 1,500 community events, all going plastic-free. We have 100,000 school children involved through plastic-free schools. The combined population of these communities is over 19 million people, meaning the scope to create long-term and meaningful change far exceeds anything that SAS has ever set out to do before. Imagine 19 million people starting to refuse throwaway plastic, an unstoppable movement pushing back at plastics, uniting communities globally to say no to plastics. The time for action is now, and it's up to us all not to kick the proverbial plastic bottle down the street. We can all join a beach clean. We can all lead a plastic-free community. Government must legislate to incentivize industry to reconsider its plastic footprint and to stop the overuse of virgin plastics. Industry must use plastic-free policies as a market advantage to respond to the growing global community that demands it. A consumer revolt is already underway, and I urge businesses, and I congratulate Iceland, to continue with this meaningful response to this rapidly changing public opinion on plastics. We cannot put the genie of plastic pollution back in the bottle, and together we can create a plastic-free future. Thank you.